Well, recording is on. Uh, so the recording is on. Um, a small intro to this. The last portrait in watercolor that I did as an instruction did work out well because I was concentrating on something else, like the individual features and things like that. The overall portrait did come out well. So the student was also misled. So I thought, okay, let me do one more portrait where I'll concentrate on the watercolor technique and use my knowledge and experience on the anatomical structure and so on and so forth. So let me try to do that. So I start with the basic measurement. The face is slightly tilted. Okay, so the portrait is going to be this. I'll have to make it slightly smaller. Oh no, yeah. I'll have to make it slightly smaller and show you. So that's going to be the portrait. Okay, and I'll take it out. That's going to be my reference. And I'm going to make the portrait that big. The face is slightly slanted, so the center line is going to be slightly slanted. Slightly slanted, maybe not that slanted, maybe I'll just take it to that. That slanted. Okay, so that would be the middle line where the eyes are going to be. Yeah, the eyes are actually slightly above the center, but I'm just going to keep it here. Okay, that's going to be the eye level line. That's going to be the hair level line. The eyebrows are going to be here. The nose would come up to that. Okay, and the lips would be there. The chin comes there, maybe slightly lower than that. Okay, so that's done. Okay, so let me set this up. Okay, so that would be the nose line. So that would be the circle. Okay, that would be the circle to get the width of the face. Okay, so that would be the center. We take the circle like that. We have gone through several lessons on various features and things like that, so I'm not going to go into that again, but we will talk about it a little bit. Okay, so that's where the nose comes, so that would be the ear. Okay, and that would be the eyebrow. The ears come up to that. Okay, so that's set. The chin is slightly brought down. I'm going to take the chin to that. Okay, so it goes narrow, and then opens up a little bit. Yeah, a little bit, not that much. That much, a little bit, and goes up again. Okay, slightly slanting, and it's going to curve out a little bit like that. Okay, so that, and it curves out a little bit like that. So that is going to be the ear. Okay, so let me set things up in such a way that I'll be able to compare the positions of various features without much doubt. Okay, so that should be one ear, the other ear should be here. This is less visible. Okay, now I'll go to the eyebrow. Let me do the nose. I would be willing to alter anything at any time provided I have enough reason to see that something is going wrong. Yeah. So basically, I'm doing the blocking and technique. As you can see, there is a lot of light from below. I think the subject is AI projected, yeah, manipulated at least. Okay, the light is going to be that. Uh, when generally a portrait is being demonstrated, that is a when a portrait is being made and a portrait is being demonstrated, they are two different things, obviously. When a portrait is being demonstrated, the teachers very often skip the drawing part much. They don't show that the drawing has to be very precise. Generally, like I'm not trying to be criticizing the other teachers, but I'm just saying that the students have to be aware that such things happen. Because the drawings have been done for those students several times, the teacher feels okay. As I said just now I said, we have done the features so many times, so I'm not going to emphasize on how to draw the feature, but I'm going to be emphasizing on the watercolor technique. So likewise, those teachers also go into uh, okay. So let me do the next eyebrow. For that, I'll have to set this right. That goes out a little bit. Yeah, very, very symmetrical. So I think this is very much manipulated from several models, and this much symmetry is very rare. I won't say it's not possible, but it's very rare. Um, I don't hesitate to use the eraser whenever it's needed. Um, I would rather do a right drawing using the eraser to correct my mistakes rather than not use an eraser and leave the mistakes there. Okay, so I have come up to that. Now let me erase these and see if my drawing is coming out well. Okay, we have to be very careful when we are using an eraser on a watercolor paper. Generally, we have to be very careful about using an eraser because we don't want to damage the paper. The papers are expensive because they are made in a special way. Apart from the fibers that they use, whether it's going to be cotton fiber or bamboo or any other tree fiber, uh, they will obviously use some powder, white powder, to give the paper a body, like a filler. A filler has to be there, and okay, comes out like that, goes there slightly curved, and here it is curved again. Slightly off, huh? Slightly off, not in the right, in the center. Okay, so that is going to be the lid area. Okay, so it comes down like that, and that's going to be a little lid area. Okay, let me erase that. That we did, the circle that we did there was to get the width of the face right? Okay, now that we have got the width right, even the silhouette, whatever. It's strange that there was a time when that word silhouette was supposed to be pronounced as silhouette, like the French name of a person who probably did that technique first. Uh, the French themselves used to say silhouette, and the Americans made it, like lieutenant becomes lieutenant. So, okay, that's that. A slim girl, but her face width and her neck width are almost okay. Now this side the neck is like that, this side the neck is not that. Okay, so I'm going to erase that. We have to see that the eye is on a straight line. Huh? Almost as why the distance would be that, huh? The width of the nose, and that would be the size of the eye. Okay, and the eyelashes would come out. Okay, now the inside would be short and the outside would be long, right? Outside would be long. This is what we call as inside, and the outside would be long. Okay, and that's going to get curved. Okay, the inside at the bottom would be long, outside would be short, and goes and joins underneath. Okay, now I'm going to draw the thickness of the upper eyelid. The eye has gone slightly up, bit too much. Okay, let me draw this. And let me draw that. Okay, and bring this slightly down. Okay, from here, this has to be a straight line. Okay, so from here it would be a line like that, slanted 90 degrees to that center line. Huh? The inside would be, just come slightly lower to take it up to that. Inside would be shorter, outside would be long. Inside would be long, outside would be short. Okay, so that's done. I think we got the eyes right. Okay, the highlights have to be left out, so let me just mark highlights there. The nose is done. Filtrum, yes? Yeah, that's the filtrum, yes. Okay, so the nose comes out like that. Okay, it comes out like that. I'm getting the symmetry of it. Huh? Even if it is not symmetrical, I'm going to get it symmetrical so that it doesn't look odd when I paint it. It might be accepted as a photograph, but generally, when it comes to a painting, certain things are not very easily accepted by the viewer. Okay, now I go to the filtrum. that. It's from inside. Okay. Almost to the center of the eye. Usually it can be measured here too, but this girl seems to be here. Seems to be here. Okay. There's a curve, upward curve like that, and from here it goes and joins in this place, and goes and joins in this place. Okay. From the center, that would be the center. From the center, there is a slight V-shaped shadow. Okay, so that shape, no, like if the drawing is very carefully done, uh, rest of it will fall in place. The lips look slightly bigger than necessary. Shall we make the lips slightly smaller? Let's bring it slightly closer. There. Okay. The chin was okay. Okay. Okay, and from here it comes down to that. Okay, so the drawing is done. Huh? So let's take a photograph of the drawing. See how I can do that without disturbing the video camera. No, that's not. So I'll have to push this away slightly and then get back to it. Yeah. So that's the photograph. Let me get the camera right. Yeah, that's the photograph. Okay, the face seems to be very broad compared to the model. Let me try to bring that make it slightly slimmer. Okay, so from there it goes like that. Yeah, I have to make it slimmer because it's very broad. When I start shading, the whole thing will create a big, big problem. So the eyebrow will be shorter. Let me bring the ear closer. I'm using a very soft brush, soft eraser. Okay, so this here is not very clearly seen. Still, we have to place it right. Yeah, we have to place it right. Okay, I think that works. I think that works. Okay. Now I'm going to give this area a slightly warm, darker tone, um, leaving the eye. I'm going to take a couple of brushes which are. Okay, I'm going to take these brushes and I'm also going to take a flat brush. Surely I want 12, I think 11. Yeah, it's a huge brush. Okay, I'm going to take vermilion and yellow ochre. Yellow ochre I have on my palette. I'm going to take a little bit of vermilion. Okay. Should I stop and